The V1 skate technique is most often used for climbing hills or building momentum like at the start line of a race. This is a high turnover technique, which means it's about high tempo and is deployed when momentum is low. In today's video, I'm going to give some in-depth analysis of the V1 technique to help you become a better skier. When looking at the V1 technique, I always like to start with the lower body. V1 is an extremely lower body intensive technique, and the majority of your forward movement is coming from your legs. Now, whether you're V1ing left or V1ing right, when looking at your lower body, your legs should always be symmetrical. Each leg is pushing at equal power and rhythm. Now remember, V1 is used in a low momentum environment, which means it's about turnover. Gliding on the ski is not the priority here. The focus should be on pushing and moving into the next cycle. What I look for in the V1 is a wide base. And what I mean by that is keeping your feet wide. I will often see athletes land on a flat ski, roll onto the edge, and then push off. Riding a flat ski is for when momentum is high. In these low momentum scenarios, it's about pushing. By landing, rolling, pushing, you are ever so slightly losing momentum and having to build it back up. So dig the edge of the ski into the snow and push immediately, and you can keep your momentum rolling. Here's a good clip of this happening in action. Look at the feet and how far apart they are. Look at how immediately they dig the edge of the ski into the snow and push. Obviously, the situation will determine the tempo or your intensity or how much you attack on the climb. Skiing easy or in the middle of a long race won't require the same tempo as the final push to the finish line. But in general, as the terrain gets steeper or the momentum is harder to keep, widen the base, drop your butt into the trail, and load up those legs. As momentum becomes easier, you can stand up and relax a little bit more. So play around with the body position to see how much power is required for each situation. Now this could be the biggest and most important technique cue for V1. When looking at V1 from the side, it's important to not step up the hill. It can be very tempting to think about wanting to take big steps up the hill to get yourself closer to the finish line. But the issue with stepping is it's a momentum killer. Stepping has the same effect as the land, roll, and push. Stepping will require you to have to work towards building your momentum up again, as opposed to just keeping your momentum rolling. Here's a great side view of V1. Look how the body is leaning into the hill from the ankles. This athlete is continually pushing side to side to keep the momentum and letting the skis glide be the forward movement up the hill. So to recap the lower body, keep your feet wide and dig your edges in. As the terrain gets steeper, drop your butt and load up your leg muscles. Keep a forward lean into the hill from the ankles and keep your feet pushing side to side. Now looking towards the upper body, we're going to draw attention to the two different sides of V1 skiing. When looking at a V1 skier, there are two sides to the technique: the hang side and the push side. V1 is an asymmetrical technique because the technique can be so physically demanding that switching sides can relieve the demand on specific muscles. The different sides of V1 can also be used on different features you may encounter on the course. For example, on a left turn, it's actually easier to get around the turn when V1ing on the right side. But for now, let's just focus on the basics of the technique before we get into race strategy. The hang side requires a high hand, forward pole placement, and as the name suggests, an almost literal hang on the pole as it comes down. The hang side is what determines which side of the technique you are on. If your right hand is high, you're skiing righty. If your left hand is high, you're V1ing lefty. The other side is the push side. It complements the hang side as a helping hand to get up the hill. In my experience, most people have a natural or a dominant side, but the best skiers can switch between lefty and righty seamlessly. Now, timing is where most people get confused. So after first talking about lower body position and building that foundation, I like to break down the timing in terms of extremities. V1 features a 3-1 pattern in terms of timing. And what I mean by this is 3 extremities will land at the same time to 1 pushing extremity. Here's Marta Osbu-Roysland skiing on her right side, and as you can see, her 2 arms and her right leg are all landing at the same time in the pattern of 3 and then pushing with the 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Now, even if you pick up the tempo and pick up the pace, this is still the case, as you can see with Fabien Claude from France. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. The Final piece to note when it comes to V1 is there's no twisting of the upper body. The shoulders, the chest, and the upper body are staying square to the hips. Sometimes I will see athletes default to twisting in order to get over to that hang side, but keeping everything square and moving forward will help you get down the trail quicker. It takes a trained eye to analyze and coach good cross-country skiing technique. Through my years of coaching both cross-country skiing and biathlon, I've begun to develop an effective strategy for analyzing technique video and giving in-depth analysis using video editing software. So if you're looking to improve your technique as this upcoming season approaches, I'm going to be offering personalized video technique analysis for viewers of this channel. Send me a video of you skiing either on snow or on roller skis, and I'll send you back a 10+ minute video breaking down your technique, giving constructive criticism for improvement, showing side-by-side examples with World Cup athletes, and much more. So check the link in the description down below to see how you can send me your video for technique analysis. So those are the key takeaways for the V1 technique. But what happens when you start building momentum and you start gaining speed? Hit that subscribe button down below and you will be notified when I publish a video about the next gear in the skating technique, the V2. But until next time, we'll see ya.